worked the problem. We saw in that example there how they got wrapped, he had lines all around and everything. He just worked the problem. He just kept pushing lines down until he got them all below his body, and whoop, away they went. They probably went and rejoined and did their thing after that, all that happened. Should we cut away? Where should we cut away? Everybody should have an altitude that they're comfortable with cutting away, okay? We normally teach never, ever cut away below 1,000 feet. We've got to have enough time for your reserve to deploy, okay? So usually 1,000 is the lowest we go. My personal one is 2,000. I don't like to cut away below 2,000. I just like to have extra time. I like to be able to make sure I get face to earth. I like to have my reserve open nice and orderly, like it's designed to do. A reserve is not designed to open when you cut away and you're falling back to earth. It's much better if you get some time, get some wind going, be under a standard free fall, belly to earth position, and deploy a reserve. That's what they're designed to do. So, if you're below whatever your comfort level is, 1,000 feet for sure, be prepared to land both people under that one canopy. This has happened many, many times in crew, and we've never had a fatality. I want you to hear this. We've never had a fatality landing 2 people under one canopy. Do they have femurs broken, legs broken, everything? Absolutely. It happens, not every time, but they live. Okay, so I don't want you to think it's the end of the world if we're landing both under the same canopy. Okay? Everybody has lived that's ever done this. That we know of. When we get into a wrap, if the person below me, if I have my feet in canopies, whether it's in the center line or outside, if the person below me gets wrapped, I want to hold on to their canopy. Why? Because now we've got 3 people under 2 canopies instead of 2 people under 1 canopy. It slows that descent rate. Now maybe we're only descending like 1,400 feet a minute with the 3 bodies of the canopies. So it buys us more time. It also allows the person getting wrapped, maybe they go into a turn if they don't have somebody up there and they start heading away from the drop zone. This way the person up top can keep them heading back to the drop zone and to safety. Incel around the foot trick. A lot of times what happens is when we come into dock, sometimes people will try to come in too low, don't shut down the speed, come in, and the person takes the grip, and the person just zinks right around and does a 360-degree turn around that guy's foot. And all we have is fabric around one foot. This happens more than almost any other type of wrap that we see. And we've learned a neat little trick. Just like when you have a line twist, we can go ahead and we can turn the same direction that the guy went around. So if he comes in this way, wraps this direction around me, what I want to do is I'm going to, as much as I can, grab a hold of the risers, twist my body the opposite way, and then I want to force myself to do a 180-degree turn, and they'll pop right out. So there's an easy way to get out of those. It'll become more evident when you do it. But normally we always get out of that. Sometimes people just take their shoe and they're able to kick their shoe off and they pop off as well. But we can usually, if you don't want to pay $10 at Walmart like me, you can do this little trick and get out of it. Normally, in a wrap, usually the bottom jumper is the guy that cut away first. Okay? We used to train everybody, if you're in a wrap, the bottom guy always cut away. If you're in an entanglement, the top guy always cut away first. However, we've changed because of several incidents and accidents, because we're teaching now the clear jumper cuts away first. Clear meaning I don't have anything wrapped around me, lines especially, or fabric. If I'm the clear jumper, whether I'm in a wrap or entanglement, I should be the one to cut away first. All right, so that's what we're teaching. Usually in a wrap, it's the bottom jumper who cuts away first, not always. All right? Like I told you before, there has been a couple times that I've actually been able to get all the canopy up into my lines and I was clear, and I went ahead and cut away first, and then that guy's canopy, my canopy flew away, and the other guy's canopy reinflated and he didn't have the chop. Versus if he would have cut away first, then I would also have to cut away because now his canopy's gone up in one leg. So the clear jumper is the one that should cut away first.
Right.
Yes, sir.
When you said like the bottom person, sometimes if you're spinning, you may be completely horizontal. Both people may be horizontal, and you can't really think who's above, who's below. But if it's a spinning thing, if you're orbiting, if you're the outer orbiting person, that equates to being the lower person. Usually the outer person would cut away first, because if you were hanging vertically, you would be lower. But sometimes you're completely sideways.
So I had a teammate, Kevin Ingley was his name, and him and I got into more wraps and entanglements and all the others combined, hands down. And there was a few times when we were orbiting, like he said, that I'd say, okay, time for you to cut away. And he'd like, oh, no, I cut away last time, it's your turn. And we're like, oh, no, you're, and we would argue for 2,000 feet on who's going to cut away. Probably not the safest thing to do, but like Kevin says, usually, okay, the bottom jumper, but the rule of thumb is we have to be the clear jumper. All right? Entanglements. All right? Yes. Yes. Very good. So she's asking if we ever have to land 2 people under one canopy. Very good question. We always flare for the bottom person. Okay? It won't buy you on the top any bit of advantage to wait and flare for you, because what's going to happen is this guy's going to hit and it's going to cause this pendulum. As soon as his body hits the ground, it's going to pendulum you down into the ground faster, and you'll get damaged more than if you would flare for the bottom jumper and slow that forward speed down before you come in. So not only is it safer for the other guy, it's also safer for yourself. So flare for the bottom jumper. An entanglement usually happens when one jumper passes through another jumper's lines, like we saw in the example before, or if 2 canopies are entangled. So in Kevin's and my last example that we gave, we were orbiting around. Both people were clear and our canopies were entangled. That's what we were talking about. Before you get entangled, you need to make a decision whether you need to get small or get big. Okay? 99% of the time, it's better to get your body big just before you get entangled. Imagine if you put your arms and legs out as far as you can, how many lines will pass by you versus if you stay small. Okay? So 99% of the time, it's better to get your body big. If you see a canopy with a bunch of lines coming in, get your body big and try to keep as many lines from going by you, or you passing through as many lines as possible. The exception to the rule, and I'll tell you 2 times in my life, I decided to get small. Why would I decide to get small? Because as they came around, I saw 2 red center lines coming directly at me. And I elected to dive through the center line. Diving through both times when I dove through the center lines, I punched through the back, my canopy reinflated, I went and docked with the formation. Okay? So we don't want to say you have to get big, because 2 times through experimental efforts, I got small, made it through, and was able to still come back and dock with the formation. So just to make the decision, 99% of the time we get big, but you may elect not to. Yes, Bill?
Do you have video of that, Brian? I'd love to see that.
Both times we do not have video. That was before air-to-air video, unfortunately.
I'd love to see that.
One was actually on opening. I had a 180 off, heading right back in there. I actually went through his lines on opening. The other time was just during a regular wrap type thing. As is with wraps, the most important next step here is communication. We need to establish communication. You should also, I need to put on there, check your handles again, right? But communication. And again, never use anything that rhymes with cutaway. Okay, so we don't say, are you okay? Right? And again, the clear jumper is the first jumper who cuts away from an entanglement. Again, we need to make a decision. What is our lowest comfort level? 1,000 feet for most, or in my case, it's 2,000 feet. I'll never intentionally go below 2,000 feet unless I'm 100% certain I'm going to get out of this in the next 2 seconds. Okay? I will chop by 2,000 feet. Starburst. Again, as I said earlier today, lately we've been having more wraps and cutaways from breaking down the formations than we have from building. We've done a great job educating people how to build. We've done a horrible job lately of stressing the importance of starburst and break-it-downs. Starburst, we starburst everybody from the center of the formation. The biggest thing that gets us into trouble is the cadence of our starburst. You got some people that will count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and other people 5, 4, 3. See what's going to happen here. We're going to have people releasing at different times. So everybody needs to be on the same cadence. Everyone needs to be on the same count. We can't have some people letting go on 1 and some people letting go on 0. So everybody has to be on the same count and everybody needs to release at the same time. We've been having a better success by having the people on the center line. If you're number 4 on the bottom of that diamond, or number 9 on the bottom of the diamond, number 16, the people on the center lines, when we get down on the count, when we get down to 5, we should see their hands going out. 5, 4. So as far out in front as you can get, putting those fingers out there so everybody can be looking into the center of the formation and being on that same count. So if I'm counting down, I'm at 6, and I look and all of a sudden I see a hand coming out, 4, and get back in cadence, okay, and start shouting it out there. Maybe they're also off a second, all right? So we use the hands in the center.
You guys all know how to clear your ears. On crew jumps, your ears get blocked really, really gradually because it's not like free fall where you're moving fast vertically. So you'll get ear blockage, and it's almost like wearing ear protectors. You can't hear. So just by, grab your nose, clear your ears, especially when it's about time for the starburst count, because you'll think you're not hearing anybody, and then your ears get cleared and you hear everybody just fine. So try to think about doing that before the, if it sounds like everything's really muffled, it's probably your ear blockage, and you just need to, hold your nose, pressurize, clear your ear to be able to hear better. When you're doing the count, like you said, stop every couple of numbers and hear, so you can hear, because you can't hear when you're yelling. So if you're yelling the wrong number at the same time they're yelling the right number, you're going to be off. But if you stop for a number, you realize you're not off, then you'll go back in.
And normally when I'm in the formation, usually I'm row 5, row 6, or something way out on a wing or something, so I'm not. The person that starts the count is usually on the top or in the center. And so normally, when I hear the count, I never say the second number I hear. I normally, if they're starting 10, I wait to make sure I hear 9 next, okay, and then I'll start in on the count as 8. I don't want to assume the first thing I hear is 10. They might have started at 12 or 15, we don't know, right? Make sure you know what the count is before you start echoing. We should, if we're in that formation, and we saw before how we can have our hands on the canopies, we need to have our hands in the controls on the count of 2. So as we're counting down, there should be 5, 4, 3. When we hear 2 and we're saying 2, we should start reaching up to be either on our brakes or front risers, depending on how we're going to exit on the starburst, and have our hands on our controls. We all release on 0. Notice, if I take my hands and I'm reaching up on 2, my feet are still in the lines. Okay? If everybody releases at the same time, we can get our feet out, no problem. Okay? We should have engineered this properly to where we don't have a lot of extra tension. Okay? When we break it down opposite of the build. The starburst is usually called by the pilot or the organizer of that load. Anybody can yell, break it down. there may be something going on in the formation that the pilot or somebody else isn't aware of, and we need to break it down. There's been a few times where we've been on like a 25-way, and number 24, 23 came into the formation. They didn't notice when they opened their canopy they had a broken line. Okay, it's only one. They still were able to fly into the formation and dock or whatever, and the guy next to him was like, dude, you got a broken line. That's not going to be the safest for the health of the formation. And so the person next to him yelled, break it down, before it got bad. Okay, and we started breaking it down. When we break it down opposite of what we build. So normally we build the 4-way diamond, then we build a 9-way diamond, then we build a 16-way diamond. We do the same thing. We start dropping off the bottom, we get to a healthy diamond. So we get to a 16-way. Then we start breaking off the bottom of that diamond. We get to a 9-way diamond. Start breaking the bottom of that and work our way up on that diamond when we get to a 4-way diamond. Just opposite of the way that we built it. So this is a picture of a starburst. Now a video. So this was, I think back in the 81 ways, I'm guessing, looking at the canopies. These are just different starbursts. This is definitely an 81 way. When we're bigger than a 36, we will peel off rows. See how horrible they're peeling off their rows there? And then our 36-way starbursts. See, we didn't drop that grip, and look what happened. That guy got the body burble right in there. Just terrible. They're beautiful when they happen correctly, and they can get ugly when they don't. Watch over here on the right side. See that? So what happened there was the guy decided I needed to get my hands in the controls, and he'd already taken his feet out of the line. It's not a good combination, right?
Like Brian said, when you let go and you're reaching up to the toggles, your feet are what's holding you in. Make sure you don't have any issues with your feet. Make sure that when you kick, you can leave right away, because if you don't, there's going to be a problem. If you know something's messed up, get it straightened out before the starburst starts, because you know that's going to come sooner or later.
What's the timing on those rows that are going out and then between the next row?
So we normally put 3 seconds between each one. So I believe when we were counting down, we started at 15. On 12, we had a row go. At 9, we had a row go. 6, and then 3, we had rows go. Oh, I know you guys are getting tired listening to me. But that's the end of our safety part of this. What we're going to do now is we're going to talk about what you guys are going to do on your first jump. Okay, we're going to go up and do some one-on-ones. The people that you guys are going to go up and do your first one-on-ones with all have thousands of crew jumps, okay? We've all learned the safe way to do this, okay? So you're going to be in very good hands on your one-on-ones. The first thing that we're going to do on these one-on-ones is we're going to go up and just fly relative to each other. Most of you guys that have only been doing free fall have been told to stay away from other canopies. Never get close to other canopies. And the reality is, if we can learn how to fly safely close to other canopies, it really helps free fallers or anybody coming into the landing area. Imagine if you're coming into the landing area, you're at 100 feet, 150 feet, and you're brushing incels with somebody for whatever reason. If you know how to do it safely, it's no risk, no harm, nothing can happen if we know how to do it safely. Don't know how to do it safely and we panic, we might turn away and turn into the guy next to us and have a rapid 100 feet, 150 feet. Nothing good can come out of that. Okay? So we're going to learn how to fly relative to each other. Then we're going to learn how to do docks. Okay? So your first jump, and you're going to get with your one-on-one coach. Everybody does it just a little bit different. But your first jump, we're going to go out. You guys will exit first. You get on aircraft heading. Make sure your coach isn't having a 180-degree heading change on opening to come and get you. All right? Then if everything goes right, he should be able to do a sachet and come back to you. We're going to get into what we call the home position. The home position is when we're in-cell to in-cell. You don't have to be touching, okay? But in that proximity, in-cell to in-cell. We want to be able to see cause and effect. Then the coach is going to do one of three things. He's going to do either breaks, back risers, or front risers. And all you're going to do is shadow whatever he does. If he does front risers first, he's going to do front risers. And when he stops front risering, then you're going to do front risers. And your goal is to come back and get to that home position again. Okay? What I really want you to pay attention to is what they call the flight cycle. Okay, if you guys have been to flight one, is when you pull any kind of control, whether it's a back riser, front riser, break, when we pull control until our canopy comes back where we're static with the other person, then it's called a flight cycle. So if you see the coach pulls a little bit of front riser, when he releases that front riser, he just increased the speed of his canopy, he caused more lift. So when he lets his hands up on the front risers, he's going to catch a little bit of lift before he gets static again in relation to your canopy. When you're coming with the front riser, if you went and stopped front risering right when you're dead even with the end cell of the other guy, you're going to continue to outfly him, and then you're going to catch some float because you had extra speed. So I want you to pay attention from the time you release your controls until you get static again on that other person. Right? Same with the back risers. If you do back risers, you're going to go up, and then after you release back risers, you're actually going to surge a little bit forward, up, down. So I want you to look at cause and effect. After we go through these flight controls, because you guys have normally only done breaks in the thousands of jumps that you may have, you've only used breaks. So we need to really work on these back risers and front risers. After we work on those, then we're going to have you do a center dock, okay? We'll probably walk you out on the first center dock, out to a wing. As we walk you out, we expect to see that hand on the outside front riser come up and be ready. All we need to do is keep our canopy level to each other and we'll never wrap. Okay? We just need to keep our canopy level. Do we need to pull? I don't know. Is my canopy floating up? If it's floating up, I need to pull. If it's not floating up, I don't need to do anything. Okay? After we do that, what I usually do is I'll take the person and say, okay, I'm going to drop you, and as soon as you get 2 feet away, I want you to come back and dock, that wing dock again with me. Why? Because that should put you on that perfect approach angle already. It should put you. So I want you to start to build a mental image of, okay, I just fell off from his foot right there, and all I need to do is come right back. So you should be on that perfect approach angle already. Usually that's what we do on the first jump. Something similar to that, but get with your coach. Everybody has different styles. They're all great. Okay? They may do breaks first, they may do front risers. It doesn't matter. You guys are just going to mimic what they're going to do. On the second jump, we're going to go up. We're going to focus on the sachets. We're going to do different types of sachets. We're going to teach you what the most efficient way to get back to the formation is a sachet. Those two things are what we need you to learn before we can go into a four-way. Any questions about that? All right? So let's take a good 10-minute break or whatever.